So today I'm going to talk about judging at a debate tournament. And let's see if I remember how to do this. There we go. I'm going to talk about judging at a debate tournament. This is all going to be recorded. So if you need this later, you can access it. The slides that I'm going to go through are going to be accessible to you as well. And I also have some extra stuff that's like cheat sheets that you can use while you're judging a debate that will all be available to you. So if you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know. But this is the judge training. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Coach Scott. I have worked this is my third year working for Honor Academy. And yeah, I've been coaching debate as a job since 2008. So, and that is the actual front door of Honor Academy, if any of you have not been there before. So, an introduction to debate, right? An introduction to debate. So, a debate, there are two different sides in a debate. There are two different teams in a debate. One of the teams is going to be called the affirmative, which sometimes they abbreviate as AF instead of affirmative. It's just short. And sometimes, yes, the slides will 100% be available to you. And sometimes the affirmative side is also called the pro side. They argue in favor of a topic or a resolution. So if we had a debate that said dogs are better than cats, the affirmative side would argue in favor of dogs, whereas the negative side would argue for cats. So one side argues in favor of the resolution, one side argues against this topic. Generally, at Honor Academy, we do two different types of debate. One of them is called LD, which is short for Lincoln Douglas debate. It is a type of debate that is modeled off of the 1860 presidential election debates between Abraham Lincoln and Stephen Douglas, and that is a one-on-one form of debate. The other form of debate is public forum, often called PF, and that is two people versus two people. And if you're not following along, there'll be lots of pictures, there'll be lots of different things that all of this will kind of come with time. So, two types of debate. One is one person versus one person. One is two people versus two people. One side thinks the thing they're arguing about is a good idea. One side thinks it's a bad idea. So this is a debate. Second part, what is a debate? So there's two sides and they're arguing over this topic, but what is it? So a debate is pretty simply a bunch of speeches between the two sides. So generally one side's going to start the debate or kick off the debate with a speech. The other side's going to answer it. And that is kind of a back and forth method for how the debates work. Depending on whether or not it is Lincoln Douglas debate or public forum debate, it will be completely different. And there we go. Depending on if it's Lincoln Douglas debate or it's public forum debate, the times are going to be different, who speaks is going to be different, etc. All of that stuff is going to be available to you in a little sheet that you can follow along as the debate happens. But as a general rule, there's three different parts of a debate. There's a speech where somebody is going to talk interrupted for a number of consecutive minutes. There is something called either cross-examination or cross-fire, and that's kind of what you think debate is. It's when the kids are going to look into their webcam and ask each other a bunch of questions, and the other side is going to have to immediately reply to that question. The third thing is called preparation time. And depending on your event, the amount you get changes. But preparation time is just a period of time where you get to say, stop, I need to collect my thoughts and write some things down. And each event, either Lincoln Douglas or public forum, has a different set of preparation time. So this really depends on the debate event that you are judging. The key thing to note is that all of the debaters in all of these events all know the events. So you should follow their lead in the debate, right? And they will generally know when it's their time. They'll know the speech time, etc. So that is the general gist of the two events. I will get more in depth as to like what the actual speeches are, what they're called, things like that once a little later on. It's just not necessary right now. So that's some basics. Another basic. So when you are judging these debates, the debates generally start with two long speeches, one by each side. And in these speeches, each side reads what they call their case. The case are their main arguments in a debate. You can think of a case as kind of like a 5 to 10 page research paper that a debater is presenting to the judge and the other team. So they'll have evidence, they'll introduce themselves, they'll say what they think is most important in the debate. But that colloquial, a case, just means that big speech. Generally, that main speech is subdivided into 2 or 3 or maybe 4 different main arguments or main points. These main points in a debate we call contentions. So if you hear them using the word contention, they are referring to one of these main points that they have made in their opening statement in the debate. So each side is going to argue that their main points are more important than the other side's main points, and that you as the judge should vote for whoever does a better job of explaining why their contentions are better than the other team's contentions, why their points are better than the other team's points. Hold on one
రేపు
second.
వెళ్ళదంటండి రేపటి నుంచినా రేపేనా
రేపటి నుండే రేపు వెళ్ళానంటే రేపటి నుండి వెళ్ళవా రేపు వెళ్ళవా అంట అయితే అసలు మనుషులు వామిటింగ్ వస్తుంది.
All right. So that's basically an introduction to debate. Next part, tournaments. So when you actually go to a tournament has a set number of debates. So if you go to a tournament, you are guaranteed to have a set number of debates. Generally, that's between 4 and 6 debates, with 6 being about the most common for a invitational style tournament like Stanford or the Jack Howell tournament, which is Cal State Long Beach. The thing that's important about these preliminary rounds that everybody gets is that they are either single flighted or double flighted. What that means is that for each of these rounds, you may have to judge 2 debates for each one of those rounds. That is called double flighted. Oops. If you only have to judge 1 debate, that is single flighted. So it's really important to pay attention to that because you may have to judge 2 debates every debate instead of 1 debate. It really just depends on the tournament that you are judging at. So for instance, the Stanford tournament is single flighted, but the Berkeley tournament is double flighted. There's no real rhyme or reason why tournaments choose to do one or the other. So everybody gets, let's say, 6 debates. If you do well enough in those 6 debates, you advance to what we call elimination rounds. And this is kind of like, if you win, you move on to the next debate. If you lose, you're out of the tournament. It's kind of like single elimination. And then once there's 1 person left, that person is the champion of the tournament. Most of our debate tournaments are held on a website that's called tabroom.com, and we will go there in a second, but that is where you can find all of the pairings. What pairings mean is pairings says who you are debating, who are you judging, all of that type of information, and we're going to look at that in just a second. I'm going to go to tabroom.com and look at it. An important thing to note is that for the preliminary rounds, you are the only judge. So if you are judging a preliminary round, you decide who wins and loses, and only you. In elimination rounds, it is very likely that there will be 3 people who are judging the debate, and each of you will make your own individual decision. And if a debater gets 2 or 3 ballots, they will be declared the winner. So that really just is a difference between what type of round that you are judging. Some things to note. The schedules at tournaments are tentative. Some tournaments are really good about running on time. When we go to the IVC tournament at Irvine Valley College, they're normally really on time. When I was a debater, we always went to the Harvard tournament, and the Harvard tournament is notorious for being upwards of 4 hours late. I've debated at 12:30 a.m. at the Harvard tournament before. That had a lot to do with snow that year, but the schedule is tentative. The most important thing is that when you sign up for a Tabroom account, which I'm going to show you how to do in a second here, you need to sign up for text and email notifications. This is important because if you have a ballot or a pairing, it's going to send it to your cell phone or it's going to send it to your email. And even for somebody like me, this is crucial. This is how I know I'm judging a debate, because if I don't do it, I'm not going to check. So please put both your cell phone number and your email in when you create a Tabroom account. Some things that we'll see when we go to Tabroom, that's the next slide. You'll see different start times and different flight times. The key thing to note for you is that as a judge, if you do not show up to the debate, we are generally fined, and generally that fine is passed down to you. So try to show up for your debates if you do not want to pay a fine. I can say that I've been judging debates for 15 years and I have yet to be fined. So I don't really think that's a big deal, but just so everybody's aware, there is that thing sitting there that's like, if you don't come, they're going to come for your pocketbook. And I don't want any part of that. So this is tabroom.com. I'm going to minimize out of this in a second and go to the actual Tabroom, but this is what it looks like. It is a website that will have all of the different tournaments that we go to. So I'm going to exit out of this real fast. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And then you should now be able to see me at tabroom.com. So when you go to tabroom.com, it's simply tabroom.com. It's going to look like this. It's going to have a ton of different tournaments on it. So for instance, this weekend, there's a really big national tournament at Emory University. So that's this tournament right there. But you can see there's like dozens of tournaments that happen every weekend. The most important parts of tabroom.com for you. First, you are going to go and click sign up in the top right-hand corner. You are going to fill out this part on the right-hand side. You don't have to do this now. And I actually have a YouTube video that I recorded for a lot of your children that explains how to do all of this stuff that I will send you. But basically put in your email address, put in your name, put in your cell phone and cell phone provider. I don't think that the state stuff is important, but you can put that in, and then a password. And basically, once you have created an account, there's nothing else that you need to do other than email us and say, I've created an account. And then we will be able to link you up with the Honor Academy account. So, and I have a bunch of screenshots later on about what it looks like when you get a debate ballot. We're just not there yet. So I'm going to show you what Tabroom looks like once you're logged in and judging and debate and all that type of stuff. We're not there yet. So this is how you would create a Tabroom account. Now, let's look at a tournament real fast on Tabroom. So this tournament is a tournament that happened this last weekend. It's called Peninsula. So if we click the Peninsula tournament, you'll see that it has, if we go to pairings and we find a event, so let's say I was judging a middle school Lincoln Douglas debate, and I would click on whatever round it was, it would have what we call a pairing. The pairing is going to have every school that's competing and who they are debating against. It's going to have the judge's name, and it's also going to have whatever room they are debating in. Now, for online, the rooms are a little different, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But this is what a pairing is. So you if you were also interested in, like checking out how your kids were doing, this is also a way to check that out. So if I had a student who was in open Lincoln Douglas, I could go and I could see who they were debating. So that is tabroom.com. And most tournaments happen through tabroom.com. And I will show you what it looks like when you actually get to judge in a second. So that is Tabroom. The next thing, before the tournament. So before the tournament, you're going to have to create a judge philosophy. A judge philosophy is just something that says who you are, what your experience in debate is, maybe who you are as a person a little bit. And this just helps inform the debaters on how they should judge during, or how they should debate during the debate based on who their judge is. There is a section on your Tabroom, and I will show you in a bit where you can do this. But I highly recommend that you kind of steal what I have here and just take this template that says, hello, my name is, and you can enter your name, and that you have a son or daughter who competes for Honor Academy, that you're a parent judge, that you like conversational speaking. There are a lot of debate events where people talk really, really fast. And I don't think any of you would enjoy that. And then just say, I think you should try to convince me to vote for you. If you want to include anything that might be relevant. So I've had a bunch of, when I taught debate in Baltimore, one of my students' parents were both medical doctors at Johns Hopkins, and they used to judge all the time. And they used to put that into their judge philosophy. I had another parent who was like a history professor at the University of Maryland, and he would put that in there. So, I'm not saying you have to put anything else in there. I'm just saying if you would like to, that's definitely something that I would encourage you to do. The last part is that sometimes the debaters before the debate will ask you your paradigm. This is another word for them just saying like, hey, what is your judge philosophy? And if they ask you that, you should essentially just say, I'm a parent judge and my son or daughter is either competing at this tournament or something like that. They're just asking you the same question that I've essentially scripted how I think that most of you should probably answer this question. So that's kind of like a before the tournament thing. And that's really easy to do. Before the debate. So you're going to get into the debate room, and we'll see what that's like in a second. But one of the couple of things that you do. The first thing that you do is make sure everybody's microphone and video camera is working. So I normally get on and I say, hello, can you hear me? And everybody will say, yes, can you hear me? Just to do a basic tech check to make sure that everything's working. I also normally, and you'll see it, nobody can see it, but right here, I have a giant stack of paper, and I use that to take notes during the debate. And I have my little pencil case here, and that's how I take notes. So you should, we'll get to this on the next slide, but generally you'll want to take some notes during the debate. I'm not saying they have to be extensive. This isn't school, but generally just something so you know some feedback to give something to the kids. And generally that's why notes are needed to be written. Some other things, you should be mindful of your surroundings. I'm sure everybody has heard this a billion times by now because we're in like month 11 of a pandemic, but just be, I live with two little children. They come running in all the time. I try to stop it, but it's not always the best. Please try not to wear pajamas. Please try not to like show below your waist or any appropriate backgrounds or anything like that. Again, all of these are school events, so anything that you think would be inappropriate for school is inappropriate for these debate tournaments. I'm not being accusatory. I'm just making sure everybody's on the same page. The last part, some water, some Advil, anything you might need. Sometimes listening to kids argue with each other for a long time gives me a headache and I need to take an Advil or something like that. So whatever you think you may need during the debate, I encourage you to have it readily available. During the debate. So the first important thing during the debate is to start the debate. The debate is going to have a start time. Please try to start the debate at that exact start time. And please make sure everybody's there when you start it. We're going to go through, I think I have this later, what to do if somebody, I definitely have this later, what to do if somebody is not there. But we'll do that in a second. So what should you do during a debate? Start the debate. Take notes during the debate. So you'll see two different ways of taking notes here. Basically, how many speeches are there in a debate? Divide your sheet of paper up into that many columns and take some notes. The next part, and in my opinion, the most important, make sure the debate's running on time. So I don't normally trust the debaters to time themselves. So I normally time on my phone. And if they're about to start a 6-minute speech, I start my timer for 6 minutes. And if my timer goes off and they're still talking, I unmute my microphone so they can hear the beeping so that they know to stop. What that allows it to do is it makes the debate happen and go because, I'm sure a lot of us have better things to do than watch people struggle to work their computers for an hour and a half. I'd rather it be 45 minutes. Last thing, please try to pay attention. You're in your home. I realize there's a bunch of stuff going on, but I saw a debate 2 weekends ago where somebody was standing here and somebody else was standing here, and they had a conversation during somebody's entire speech, and I didn't think that was very fair to the person giving the speech. So I asked that everybody just please try to pay attention or act like it. So, some FYIs. If one team tries to accuse the other team of violating the rules of debate, it's likely that they just don't know what they are saying, because there are likely, or I'll say this, there are no rules to debate. If there are any rules that you need to know, we will tell you exactly what those are before the tournament. Generally, when people say the other team has violated the rules of debate, they don't know what to say and are trying to scratch their way into somehow winning a debate. The second thing is that teams normally read and use evidence during a debate. So generally, those first two speeches, which we call the case, they read from actual source material. So for Lincoln Douglas right now, we're talking about artificial intelligence. So you may read some source material from somebody who has a PhD in mechanical engineering from Stanford, and you're reading what they think a specific technology for artificial intelligence works. So they are going to a lot of times quote the actual source material. This source material or evidence isn't necessarily necessary, and it's not a requirement, but it's highly encouraged. Every honor debater who does Lincoln Douglas and public forum debate reads a lot of evidence in a lot of their speeches, because we think that as a form of academic scholarship, that's the best education that they could get. So what I would say is that a team can't necessarily lose for not having evidence, but you can definitely reward a team for having great evidence with speaker points. And we will talk about what those are in a second when we talk about how you actually judge at the end of a debate. So after a debate, the first thing you should do, tell them they did a great job. The next thing, you are going to be required to fill out something called a ballot. And I have 4 different slides later on that show you what this looks like on Tabroom. What you see on the screen right now is what that looked like in person. So what a ballot is it tells the tournament who won and who lost the debate. So what you will have to do with this ballot is you will have to give each person in the debate a speaker point. Those are individual points, and you have the potentiality of receiving a speaker award as a debater at the end of the tournament if you have good speaker points. The second part that's important is who won the debate. And I'll show you exactly what this looks like in a second, but you have to decide who won, the affirmative or the negative, and you have to give a decision. A decision is basically you saying why you think one team won and why you think one team lost. I have a template for you, if you would like, that basically says exactly the format that you need to follow, and then you can just fill in the portions that are relevant to the specific debate that you watched. The thing that's important is sometimes the students will ask you to disclose. What disclose means is they want to know right then and there if they won the debate. My advice to all of you is to say no, and that you will provide written feedback on the ballot. Generally, I have found it unwise for parents to provide feedback because it leads to not the best of situations, because you all don't have a lot of experience doing this either. So I would highly recommend that you not disclose, but you are going to write a reason for decision. The last thing you should do after the debate is double check all of the results. One thing to note about disclosure: some tournaments will require you to disclose. If they do require you to disclose, you can write what you have written out via the template that I have provided. So for instance, I think that Stanford might be one of these tournaments. I'm not sure, but they're just looking for you to provide some type of verbal feedback that says which side has won the debate, why they did that, and any sort of tips that you could give the debaters. And again, I have a template that I'll be sharing with all of you that we'll look at for what you should do. One important thing to note: please do not judge a debater based on any of your personal beliefs. If you really dislike Trump and the debater is talking about why Trump is the best president ever, even if you disagree with their statement, what you are supposed to do as a judge is remove your personal beliefs from this. So that includes the race of the debater, their gender, their sex, their religion, or any type of physical appearance that the debater might have. So please do not include any comments about the debaters looking good or looking nice or anything like that. Generally, that's viewed as inappropriate in a school setting. Also, please don't make any comments like your English is bad, because in some instances, there are teams at Stanford who are from China or from Korea competing at the Stanford tournament. And that would be viewed as kind of xenophobic towards those type of people. I know that we're adults and we think we know these things, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody's aware that you should only be judging these debates based on the arguments that they have made alone in that specific debate. So, when you get a ballot, when you go to tabroom.com, when you get that text message, what's going to happen is you're going to go to that tabroom.com website. When you log in to tabroom.com, you are going to see your email address for your account in the top right-hand corner. You need to click that email address. When you click that email address, what's going to happen is it's going to bring up this screen right here. This screen is going to tell you if you have a ballot or not. So the person on the screen right here has a ballot because under current rounds, it says Lincoln Douglas round 1. So to get into that debate, they would click the start button that is in green. It is incredibly important that when you receive a ballot, that you click that start button, because that's what tells the tournament you're here and you're not getting fined. The other thing is, and you can't really see it because I stole this from somebody's YouTube video, is right here, there is a part that says paradigm. And that is where you can enter the text that I had in the Google Slides. So that's where you can say who you are, your parent, things like that. The thing that's missing from this is that normally next to the round, there is also a blue camera, and that is where you would join your room from, but you can join it from another place that I'm going to show you as well. So once you click that start button, it will bring up a screen like this. This is your ballot. This ballot is what's most important. So there's going to be an AF team and a neg team. It's going to say what round it is, and it's going to say exactly what time you are supposed to start the debate. There's also timers built in. So remember, I said that I like to time the kids as well. There's timers that you can use directly through this website. Once the debate is over, you are responsible for filling in this ballot. It's really simple. You have to give each debater a certain number of points. We will talk about this later, but generally it is between 26 and 29. I know it says 20 to 30. Please only give between a 26 or a 29, or I'm going to probably have another coach talk to me. Generally 26 to 29 is acceptable. If you think someone's really good, you could give them like a 29.5. But yeah, that is speaker points. After you give the speaker points, you decide which team won the debate, and then you click again what side that was, and you submit the ballot. Now there is a button here that says low point win. What that means is if the person who has the most speaker points or the higher speaker points does not win, you have to click this button. It's generally assumed that the person with the higher speaker points will win. So if that's not the case, you are required to click that button. In the bottom portion here, if I could scroll down, there is a place where you write your decision, you write your feedback, and we'll go at the end to the template that I have for that. So again, the ballot, you click who wins and you choose their name from the scroll down option. Please give them between a 26 and a 29. Decimal points are generally fine, like a 28.4, a 29.1. Generally, you can go until the 10th function. Generally, between a 27.5 and a 29 is average. And you're going to have to fill out that feedback part. And I have a template for that I'm going to share with y'all. So the next part, how to get into your virtual room. So you'll see this ballot was a Lincoln Douglas ballot because there's one person on each team. This ballot is a public forum ballot because it has two people on each team. The only difference between these two ballots is you're going to have to give speaker points to two people on each team instead of one person on each team. Pretty simple. The reason that I wanted to show this is because when you pull up your ballot, there will be a big blue camera button on your ballot. You click that in order to get in or access your room that you are judging your debate in. So when you click that button, it is either going to bring up two different platforms. One of them is called NSDA Campus, and one of them is called Zoom. The Zoom one, it's kind of like a plugin. I'll explain that in a second. But the campus one is a Zoom type of software that's just built into the web browser. So what will happen is you'll click that little camera button and it will either, if it's classrooms.cloud, it's going to require you to enter a password that we will have sent out to you. And then you're going to have to find your room number and enter that specific room. So you'll see here, it says room number 2. You would have to then click into room number 2. For the campus option, it's going to take you directly to campus. And it'll just pop up immediately once you hit the camera. Once you hit that blue button, you'll have to choose your webcam inputs and all of that type of stuff. You can actually choose for the classroom one to do it within your Zoom client as well. So here is what NSDA Campus looks like. So you'll see it's just in the web browser, and you have a mute button just like Zoom, and a camera button and a chat box and all sorts of different things. And again, I have a little program up here to time, and there's also a timer built into NSDA Campus for you to use just to make sure everything runs on time. So this was a Lincoln Douglas debate. You can see I'm judging one person versus one person. And then this is a public forum debate. So you'll see in this instance, I'm judging two people versus two people. So that is just the difference between the two events. So, unexpected situations. What happens if a competitor doesn't show up? This actually happened to me last weekend, and it's happened ever so often in online debate. The first thing is please wait until the actual start time. So if it starts at 10 a.m. and they're not there at 9:55, please wait until 10. They're a high school or middle school kid. They're probably waiting until the last possible second to log on because they think that's what makes you happy, but it doesn't. So please wait until the actual start time. If the debater is still not there at the start time, then you inform the tournament. Each tournament has a different method for doing this. Sometimes you text somebody, sometimes you email somebody, sometimes you go into a different Zoom call. If you are judging at a tournament, we will tell you for that specific tournament what that policy is. What if I don't show up? We will almost certainly be fined, which will be passed on to you. I personally don't think this is a big deal because I have not been fined in 15 years. And I would say I average somewhere around 150 debates a year judged. Just show up. It's not hard. The last unexpected situation that I have is what happens if somebody has tech issues. First is that, you should give them a little bit of leadway. Sometimes people lag out. Sometimes people have problems with their microphone for a second. If it's a big issue, like somebody logs off and you're missing them, then you would need to do the same contact the tournament procedure that you would do if a competitor did not show up to the debate. So that is kind of like some unexpected situations. So before I get to questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into this cheat sheet that I created and go through it real fast, just so I'm probably going to expand this a little bit, but this is something that you could print out and have right next to you and make judging these debates, in my opinion, not that hard. So, depending on what debate event you are judging, Lincoln Douglas is 1 versus 1, and public forum is 2 people versus 2 people. Each of these events will have a different topic or resolution that they are debating. Again, we talked about this earlier. And later on, you'll have a sheet that says exactly what they are debating, so you know. Again, there'll be a topic or resolution. There's different sides in the debate that will either support or go against that topic. They'll read their case, which includes their main arguments. And then this just goes over some of the stuff that we've already talked about. Again, I have here that if the tournament does not require you to disclose, I would encourage you not to disclose. But if they do require you to disclose, I encourage you to write the template that I have provided below, and we'll see that in a second. This was already in the PowerPoint. So, a template for how to write a decision or what to say to the debaters after the debate if you are required to give a verbal decision. You say, I vote, or I voted for which side. So you say, I voted for the affirmative team. I voted for the con team. I voted for the pro team. Whichever side you think won, explain why. Then you say, I thought that the winning team did a better job and won the debate because of the following reasons. Look at your notes, write some of the things down that they talked about in the debate. Then you look at your notes, the team that you think lost, what could they have done a better job of? What caused them to lose the debate? That is a way of saying, this is why I think one team won. This is why I think one team lost. Here's an argument that I thought made them win. Here's an argument I thought made this team lose. The second part I have is just says, I really enjoyed the winning team's argument that was talking about blank. This is just here to say, I, as a judge, watched the debate and engaged the debate. This allows the person, the tournament, or their coach to say, oh, this judge was really paying attention and followed this debate. So we don't have to deal with any complaints or anything like that. And then the same thing is said for the other side in the debate. And then just a general, this is a great debate. Y'all are awesome. Keep debating. Never discourage anybody from debating. The key thing is that we want to be encouraging and we want to give positive feedback. Please try to not give any overly negative feedback. So regardless if you're doing Lincoln Douglas or you're doing public forum, this is how you would write your decision in that little text box. And then if you are required to give your decision verbally, I would literally just say this, and then I would say, have a great day. And if the debaters ask you questions, you're more than welcome to answer, but you could also just say, like, that's just really how I saw the debate. I don't really have a lot more input, and those were my thoughts. So, but please have positive, good, appropriate interactions with the kids. So, for each debate event, public forum, and for Lincoln Douglas, I made a cheat sheet. You should use this during the debate. So, Lincoln Douglas is that one-on-one form of debate. For January and February, for the next 2 months, this is the topic that we are debating. So, this wording, states ought to ban lethal autonomous weapons, is what the two sides are going to be arguing about. This is the format for the debate. So it says how long the speeches are, how long the cross examinations are, how much prep time each side gets. I made a little table here so that you can follow through and check off the different speeches as they happen, so you can make sure that you're doing this correctly and going in the right order. Basically, your job is to make sure that these set of speeches start and end on time and give some feedback. Each side will get 4 minutes of prep time, and generally, they won't use all 4 minutes at once. So if they use like a minute and a half, I'll cross out 4 and then I'll write 2:30 here. So that's why I have the bottom portion. So that's kind of like a cheat sheet for you to follow along while judging a debate. If you were judging a public forum debate, the same thing goes. So public forum debate is 2 versus 2. The topic for February is On Balance, the benefits of urbanization in West Africa outweigh the harms. And then these are the different speech times and orders of the debate. And then they will get 3 minutes of prep time. And then just like Lincoln Douglas, a public forum debate has the same sort of checklist thing that I created so that you can make sure that everybody's going in the right order, following along, all of those sorts of things. And then this is actually wrong. You only get 3 minutes of prep time. So that is essentially all that I have. I know that it was probably a lot. I talk really fast, so you're not going to get all this in one go round, but if you paid attention, you are likely better than 90% of all parent judges that have ever judged debate, because most parent judges get a 5-minute training by somebody who has not thought about this as long as I have today. So hopefully this is helpful. We will have the slides and this cheat sheet thing available to all of you all. And you all can also email me if you have any questions. I'm going to take any questions if anybody has them right now. And other than that, that's pretty much what I have for you all today. The most important thing going forward from here is go to tabroom.com and create that account.
Thanks, Scott. This was really helpful. I think I just have one question. So
Yeah.
I am already in tabroom.com and I clicked on my email and I see that I have a tournament coming up to judge. How do I know if I'm like the only judge?
What do you mean, like you're the only
Like,
judge?
am I paired with another judge? How do I know that?
Yeah, so the pairings won't come out until like generally about 30 minutes before a debate is supposed to start.
I see.
So you won't know who exactly you're debating, and you won't see like this screen right here
hmm
with your ballot. This
Right.
like if you logged on to tabroom.com right now, this whole part here would probably just be blank. And that's fine, but it will only show up if you have a debate ballot at that time. So like for instance, if I log into my own Tabroom account right now, you'll see tournaments that I might be judging at. I'm not sure. I think I can only see this because I'm an administrator of the Honor Academy Tabroom account, but
Right.
it may have the tournaments you're registered for there. And
It
then
does, yeah.
remember I had that part that said paradigm.
Yeah.
There's a judging thing right here, and if you click paradigm, you can write in whatever you would like to write in.
Okay.
So
I see.
that's
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. This was very helpful, and taking time on a weekday to go over that was really amazing.
Yeah.
So one question: if a group is running late, you mentioned something about contact. So do you see that on the ballot, or where do you see? And like, is it just like a click? You put some comments too.
It like if somebody doesn't show up.
Yeah, if it doesn't show up, like it's
Yeah,
like
so
it's 10 minutes past, 15 minutes past.
So it really depends on the software. So I will on the NSDA campus, there's normally a contact thing here, and you can do it through there. But the best way of saying this is kind of like each tournament is kind of like their own little special snowflake and does it their own little special way. So if you are judging at a tournament, we would provide that information before the tournament as per what you were supposed to do. There's been no like universal set way that everybody's been doing it.
Okay, but I thought everything was in the tab room. You are showing NSDA. Is that a different website that we should go?
So Tabroom is called Tabroom because in debate we call the people who run the tournament the Tabroom. So I think I used the words interchangeably. Everything that you need, you access through tabroom.com.
Got it.
That's your central hub.
Okay. Thanks.
And
on the day of debate, if we have any questions, so who do we reach out? Let's say, we kind of stumble on a few things. Would it be you, BJ, or what's the protocol?
If you are struggling during the tournament, like with judging a debate, that might be me. Honestly, just try your best and write it down. You being honest and saying you're a parent judge and all of that type of stuff, the debaters should know what that means and to debate the correct way in front of you. If it's like people aren't showing up, things like that, then that would be you contacting the people who are running the tournament.
Got it.
And then I had a question in chat. When does low point win happen? In my personal opinion, I don't think I've given a low point win in like 7 years. You don't have to worry about the low point win if the person who wins gets more speaker points. So generally, as a rule for me, I just make sure that the person who wins gets more speaker points than the person who loses. And if you mess up and don't do that, the tabroom.com software will kind of like yell at you. What I mean by that is it has like a double check feature in and of itself. And it's something, if something's not right, it'll bring up a screen that's like, whoa, did you mean to do this? And then that's when you have to make sure and double check. It will also do that every time you submit a ballot. It'll have a double check thing that's like, you are about to vote affirmative for Honor Academy. Did you mean to vote affirmative for Honor Academy? And then you have to click yes or no. Hopefully yes.
Hey Scott, I have a question. Thank you for your time. So when the tournament is going on, like if we are having so many technical difficulties, right? Nowadays, like if it disconnected or something, like can we give them extra time to their speech, or how
that's some tournaments have rules for that. Generally, people have been pretty lenient towards that. What I would say is try to make best do with what's available. But if it's like, you know, somebody's crashed and leaving the call, or you can't hear any words that they're saying, or you just hear like screeching noises of lag from their voice, like, then you probably need to contact the tournament. But you know, there's been all sorts of situations out of my control, and we're now to the point that those are like 1 in every 50 to 1 in every 100 debates, rather than in the fall when they were like 1 in 5 or 1 in 10. So we're doing online debate right now exponentially better than we were doing it 6 months ago. So that's good for me, at least.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. If nobody has any other questions, it's 8:29, 8:30. I'm a big time person. We said 7:30 to 8:30, and I'm done. So if you have no more questions, you're more than welcome to leave. If not, I will stick around and answer any other questions. Again, we'll email you the slides, we'll email you the cheat sheet, and we will also email out a recording of all of this. So thank you all for showing up, and I hope to see you soon judging a debate.
Thank you, Scott. Good night.
Yep.
Thank you.